I'm joined by Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin of New York. He's a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and great to have you, Congressman. First of all, I just want to get a lay of the land. Have we never tested a system like that in Hawaii? Don't we do normal drills and alerts like this?
Sure, and that's really what is unacceptable here is the fact that you have an employee in Hawaii who's pressing a button that's triggering the alert, and that it's taking well over a half hour to tell Hawaiians that they're actually safe and it was a false alarm. Exercises take place at all levels of government, sometimes all levels of government participating in that singular exercise. When I was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, we would have everyone from the federal assets to the local Cumberland County first responders all working together for all different kinds of scenarios. But really, that is what is most unacceptable about what happened. And that is where my colleagues' outrage should be directed, is the fact that that button was pressed in the first place.
Yeah, you know, you talk about Fort Bragg. My dad was stationed there, so I spent some time as a youngster on that base. And they do run drills and alerts and that sort of thing. But it did take 38 minutes then to reissue going through FEMA. So do we need to take another look at how we do this for civilians?
And well, no doubt that in Hawaii that there's a specific issue that's taking place with their emergency management agency, that they can't conduct this drill without instilling that level of fear in their own population. That is entirely unacceptable. So before they go forward with the next drill, it's almost like they have to have a drill as to how to have a drill to make sure that they're not pushing buttons to instill fear into their own population. But a whole lot of the rest of our country, including emergency management that gets done from the state level, the city level. This is a big deal in New York City, for example. These rehearsals are done all the time where you have employees at a city level doing these responsibly.
Yeah, I just wanted to get to the human element of that, because I've seen so many questions from even people who live on the island nation just saying, or excuse me, state, just saying, you know, we want to understand better how we can go forward. And I know they're having a hearing on Friday, so on and so forth. Let's talk the dictator of North Korea. And Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii saying that we need a different way to deal with him. Your thoughts?
Well, we certainly need to do whatever we possibly can to deal with this situation. Now, what 2017 has presented some big victories, progress forward for the Trump administration for this issue. Ambassador Haley this past August secured a unanimous vote, including China and Russia, for what amounts to cutting off over 1/3 of North Korea's exports. We operate under the principle of DIME, diplomacy, information, military, economics. The military should be the last possible option, but we should have the full range of conventional to unconventional prepared. Multilateral diplomacy, ramping up economic pressure, letting the people of North Korea know that the struggles they are facing is not, despite Kim Jong Un's best efforts to help them, it's actually because of what he's doing. All of that, really, if we were to come up with the top several options, though, they all involve China. Now, if we wanted to try something different, if President Trump was to pick up the phone and talk to Kim Jong Un, we have to set low expectations for this first phone call because, as Secretary Tillerson mentioned, they may end up talking about, Kim Jong Un may want to talk about, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s or, a table that's in the room. So low expectations for a first phone call. If the president wants to go there, it's okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I understand, and I would imagine you, too, have some thoughts about why Representative Gabbard, I mean, when you look at the location of Hawaii, you understand why she's pushing for some sort of a change. But when she says no preconditions, your thoughts?
Well, they're going to, if you're going to have an initial phone call without any preconditions, and if you want to make progress, the conversation is going to be about setting conditions for what the follow-up is. Is it another conversation that takes place between President Trump and Kim Jong Un? Is it done through people who are at the cabinet level and others representing each of the countries? Is it bilateral? Is it multilateral with other countries involved? So if you want to have a first phone call without any preconditions, we just also have to understand in setting our expectations low, if we want to have further progress, it's just going to be a conversation about setting conditions for a follow-up the follow-up interaction.
It's so interesting to get your point of view on this, because at first blush, you might think, okay, well, has this gone so political that Republicans and Democrats like Gabbard can't come together? It doesn't sound like there's that kind of divide in the room that you might be able to go someplace forward. The big question is, what is the president willing to do that you know of?
Right, and the president sounds like someone who may want to give this a try. From Secretary Tillerson's comments, it sounds like he may be in favor of that. Now, this is a different course of action than what we saw in 2017. It is trying something that's new. What I would encourage all of my fellow Americans, all of my colleagues in Congress, if the president chooses to go there, is that our country right now is filled up with people who want to see President Trump successful and people who don't. And there are a lot of people, we all should be concerned about the direction North Korea is in. This is not going to be easy, and it comes with a lot of risk to have that conversation. If we have colleagues in Congress and the American public rooting for the president's failure on this phone call or any of the follow-up that takes place because you want to take this president out, that is so contradictory to what they are taking an oath, an oath to the Constitution to swear to uphold on behalf of their constituents and their country.
Wow.
So that's what that would be my message to my colleagues in Congress and the American public is, if we go there, we all have to get behind this president.
How about that? That is a message of a higher calling, taking the high road. Congressman Lee Zeldin today of New York, thank you very much.